US and India are all set to elevate their clean energy partnership. Joining us right now to speak about the US-India Clean Energy Alliance and the way forward for the future is John Podesta, the White House Senior Advisor for Climate Policy. Mr. Podesta, thank you so much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18.
Good to see you, and it's great to be back in India.
Interesting times, isn't it? You've got elections in the United States, frictions with China over the roadmap for clean energy transition, and you've also got COP29 coming up, where we need to elevate our ambition. Keeping all these scenarios in mind, how important is your visit to India at this time and the key priorities you're seeking to achieve?
Well, I think President Biden has really tried to elevate the relationship with Prime Minister Modi because we see India as a key partner in developing the technologies that will be necessary to tackle the climate crisis, to invest in clean energy, to mutually support each other in that investment strategy, to create cycles of innovation so that we can begin to decarbonize and transition away from fossil fuels, which was agreed to at the last COP in Dubai, and build a clean energy future for our people. And by the way, put a lot of people to work doing it.
Right. Creation of jobs is a priority for both countries, isn't it? What I'd also like to ask you, when it comes to building resilient supply chains in clean energy technologies, how are the two countries going to work together? One is a mission of intent, and the other is implementing things on the ground. Right. What's the vision here that has been agreed upon?
That's what we've been here talking about. I think we'd like to see more pilots to help support. We're already seeing investment going both from India to the U.S. and from the U.S. to India for solar, a major thin film, cadmium-based, non-polysilicon-based solar company has opened up in India. We've seen a significant investment going the other direction. Vikram Solar, for example, is in a joint venture with an American company in Colorado. We're seeing JSW Steel producing steel for our offshore wind industry in Ohio. So I think that cross-fertilization is already taking place, but we can take it to a different level because, quite frankly, we're both over-reliant, particularly in these clean technologies, on a single source of supply, and that's from the PRC, from China, for critical minerals, for battery components, for upstream solar technologies like wafers and ingots. So we want to see a more stable, secure, friendly source of supply. We want to work together with India. We see our economies as complementary in that regard, and I think it's a win-win situation for both the U.S. and India.
That's right. Would you like to set a target to what extent we should be able to move our supply chains away from China when it comes to clean energy? Any immediate targets that you would hope for?
Well, look, I think one of the things we've done in passing the Inflation Reduction Act is put a premium on reinvigorating manufacturing in the United States to ensure that we have domestic capacity, but to work also with partners and friends and allies across the globe. We heard good discussions with the European Union. We just entered into a critical minerals agreement last year with Japan. We have a free trade agreement with South Korea. But we see India as an important industrial partner in that scope. How fast we move, this is a transition. One of the things that I think has happened is that the industrial might of China has put a lot into these clean energy technologies. They just completed the third plenum. They doubled down on investment in these advanced technologies, and I think that concentration of supply is not good for the United States. I don't think it's good for India. I don't think it's good for the world. We need to really work together between friends to create a more diverse set of suppliers so that we all take this journey together. And we want to see, obviously, China decarbonize more than they are. We'd like to see them begin to reduce the amount and the reliance on coal. They're already investing a lot and deploying a lot of solar power. For example, they developed and deployed 290 gigawatts of solar power last year. That's a good thing for the world. But we can't our industries can't be undermined by their unfair trade practices, and nor can we be overly dependent on a single source of supply. So we all have some work to do, but I think in the end of the day, that's good for the world, because we'll just more rapidly get to a place where we're dealing with climate change and the catastrophic effects that we're seeing across the world today.
Right. You've made a very important point, and this has been a concern for both US and India. What I would like to ask you, that if we drill it down to basics, which would be the key sectors? When you speak about clean energy, you think about solar equipment, you think about solar panels, you think about battery storage, you think about electric vehicles. Now, which of these are going to be a priority in terms of driving investments and making a smoother regulatory ecosystem so that investments can flow more easily?
You know, I think we need to, and I was just over at NITI Aayog, and I noted that we shared the view that we need to really concentrate on 5 sectors. Power, and that is really investments in renewable energy. So that's particularly important with regard to the solar technologies we've been talking about. Transportation, where we need to electrify transportation. So we need to get on top of the need for critical minerals all the way up through the production of batteries. Buildings, where we need more efficient cooling. And I think India can play a really important role both domestically and as a regional leader, and really play an important role in places like sub-Saharan Africa in terms of providing efficient cooling, both in the form of air conditioning and highly efficient fans, in industrial processes. So we spent a lot of time on green hydrogen and the ability to decarbonize steel and cement and glass through the use of the production of green hydrogen, and then of course agriculture and forestry, where there's work to do both in terms of creating more carbon sinks, deploying carbon smart agriculture, climate smart agriculture, and I think we have been a leader in agriculture innovation in the United States. I think we can share those practices with India and really, again, work across that range of technologies. But I would say here in the near term, it's batteries, it's storage, it's hydrogen, and in the midterm, small modular nuclear reactors, and where I think we can we have some issues to work out between U.S. and India, but I think there's a bright future for deployment of small modular nuclear reactors, and an important role for India in supplying things like heat converters, boilers, etc., in the market, which I think will be quite robust in the next couple of decades.
Right. So is the U.S. government also thinking of putting investments on the table for India in stepping up its manufacturing supply chains?
Yeah, we've come with some ideas about how we can use resources that we've provided to the Clean Technology Fund, which is housed at under the supervision of the World Bank, that could be deployed for this purpose. We also, I think, have direct support that we supplied in the past through ARPA-E at our Department of Energy, etc. We have already a strong partnership, which President Modi and which Prime Minister Modi and President Biden signed when they visited last year in Washington. But we're trying to take that partnership and advance it and take it to another level.
Could you put a number to it in terms of the quantum of funds that you're proposing to deploy in India?
I think we're talking about in the range of $1 billion.
In future?
In the future.
In the future, to step up India's manufacturing supply chains.
Exactly. And then, of course, the purpose of that is also to draw in private sector investment. And we think, again, We're seeing Indian companies invest in America. We're seeing American companies invest in India. We'd like to see more of both.
On that note, we are going to take a short break here on CNBC-TV18, but don't go anywhere. This conversation with White House Senior Advisor on Climate Policy, John Podesta, continues on the other side.